Good morning. Glad you all could make it. There, that's better. Good morning. Glad you all made it. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving planned. And keep in mind, tomorrow is a day that I take Terry for another infusion. And tomorrow they're going to really increase the dose. So they want to see if they can break this thing. So keep her in mind. Keep her in your prayers. And she will be wearing the prayer shawl that Pepperleah made, and she wore it last time, and keeps her reminded that she is wrapped in the arms of prayer from a whole lot of people, and we really do appreciate it. So we do appreciate all your prayers. Pepperleah first in the door. Alicia, good morning. Sally H. And Ruth J. And Steve Ganick, good morning. Monica Sherman, I saw you in there just as the screen jumped. There we go. Hang on a second. And actually, Terry is doing fabulously today. She's sleeping. So she can't get to bed until pretty late. And as such, she sleeps late. So the comment I make is that if God would have meant her to see a sunrise, he would have scheduled them later in the day. But I have seen some improvement from these treatments she's been getting, and she doesn't see it quite so much because they're subtle. But I have seen some stabilizing and some reduction in the level of stress that she goes through. And for those of you, anybody who's watching on replay or is not aware, my dear, wonderful wife, both of us came down with COVID. We were over it in 4 or 5 days because let's put it this way, the media is not reflecting truth again. I know that's a tremendous shock to so many of you, but if you get all your news through CNN and television, you're not getting reality. But as so many, most people don't even report that they got it, that they got sick, because they didn't have symptoms bad enough to go get any kind of treatment. And this is true with the flu. And who goes to the doctor every time you get a little virus that lasts a couple of days? We just don't go running to our doctors for every little thing. Most people who get the flu get over it on their own, take some off the shelf medicines, and they're done with it. Same thing for this illness. And we both got sick with it, and because Terry had some kind of persistent coughing and things that were related to it, she went to the doctor to get some help with that. She was tested. Sure enough, it was COVID. She got these things. They gave her a steroid shot, which was the problem. The steroid shot threw her into a depression, anxiety runaway. And it may have had some influence with COVID, we don't know, but she it was treatment resistant. She was not, it's called TRD, treatment resistant depression, and it was pretty strong. It's been very strong, and it's been now for a couple of months that we've been battling this, and it seems like every medicine they give her doesn't work, and so they've in fact, some of the medicines they give her makes it worse. So there is a breakthrough treatment that's been around. The drug's been around for, from the 60s. It's quite a very well known, very low level of any incident of side effects, and has had tremendous breakthrough in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorders and treatment-resistant depressions. So we've been going through some treatments with that. These are 6 treatments, not an ongoing live your life on a drug. And we've seen some improvement, but not the revolutionary breakthrough that everybody wants, one shot and you're done type thing. So we're in, tomorrow we go in for the 5th of 6, and tomorrow they're going to ramp it up a bit, and appreciate your prayers in that. If you've ever had or had a loved one, or you yourself have gone through depression, this is not the kind of depression of, oh nuts, somebody forgot my birthday, or my transmission just blew up on the freeway. Those are depressing things, but nothing like this. To tell Terry, you should not feel that this way, she'd be the first one to tell you that. This is a woman with a very strong faith and very strong personal relationship with Christ, and has all the tools and all the everything else, but these feelings are there and you can't turn them off because they're a clinical thing, not an event thing. It's not an emotional reaction to something. This is a clinical reaction, a medical problem in her body, and it's not responding. So keep her in your prayers. Appreciate it. Yes, steroids can be awful. They cause, blood sugar. They do all kinds of weird things. And we throw them around like, oh, well, all you need is a steroid shot. Well, don't go running for that. They've been helpful in many cases. They have helped a lot of people. I've had steroid shots. It didn't bother me. But then again, some people get Jabba the Hutt and die 2 weeks later because they have a reaction from the so-called wonder drug that's going to save your life, and it ended up killing you. So such happens to a lot of people, and it's all getting swept under the rug. So hey, let's get Lewis Log Cabin. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. And if I missed anybody, I am sorry. Didn't mean to miss you. And I think I caught everybody. So, all right, let's get looking at the book here, because we've got some really good stuff. We are in Revelation chapter 21, and this is such a powerful glimpse into the future, what God has in store for us, and it gives us great amount of peace knowing that the things of this earth are going to be gone. All of the trials, all of the struggles that we go through, including a depression, including a illness, including bad backs, including bad eyesight, bad hearing, I'm looking at this grocery list of things that are stacking up with me, and you know what? It isn't over till it's over, and when it's over, it'll be gone. So I'm looking for a whole new body, and the one I've got is wearing out. But Revelation chapter 21 begins, and I'm reading out of the King James Version, so follow along with me if you'd like. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. And this is a major theme of God's promise to us. He's going to make things right. And this is the word that's used here for new. It's like in Galatians where Paul says, talks about another gospel, which is not another. And really, isn't this contradictory? No, there's 2 words for another in the Greek. One of them is heteros, and the other is allos. And heteros means another of a whole different kind, a completely different other, if you will. And the allos means another of the same identical kind. Well, the word new has a similar dual meaning. There are two different words in the Greek for the word new. Now, there may be others, but in this case, there are two for this use of the word. And it says a new heaven and a new earth. So what kind of new is it? And it does not mean a new numerical earth, as in I'm going to make another one. It means qualitatively new. And lest anybody decide that, well, God's just going to sort of fix up the earth that's here. Yeah, he is, but he's not going to do it with what we call a DuPont restoration in tractor world. I restore old tractors, or have restored several old tractors for as sort of a hobby, antique tractors. And there are those who say recently restored, and you go and you find it, and you find new paint painted over piles of dirt. They didn't even clean off the clods of dirt on the tractor. They just spray painted over everything, and they call that a restoration. That's not the kind of restoration God does. Then there are those who do a complete and full honorable restoration, where they take the tractor all the way down to its component parts, clean and completely refurbish every part, making it all but new, and in many cases in better condition than it was originally manufactured. Okay, well, when you look at the new heaven and the new earth, God does a thorough job. Qualitatively, God is going to restore the quality of the earth to its original Garden of Eden prior to the fall of man, prior to sin, that condition. And speaking of a new heaven and a new earth, it speaks of the depth of the damage that sin has created. It says in that God rolls the heavens away as a scroll, just wipes them all away, removing the sun, the moon, the stars in the bowl judgments, that all of these are going to be rolled up like a scroll and cast away. Wow, that's pretty awesome that God's going to take away the sun, the moon, and the stars. Something evidently in the order of things, sin even affected all of what we call the universe. And God is going to make it right. God is going to fix it. And he will qualitatively restore. In other places, even in the New Testament, it talks about God is going to bring restoration. He's going to burn the elements with a fervent heat, to the point that the very elements of creation are going to be taken down to their lowest common denominator and then restored. So it's going to be a thorough renewal, but God is going to keep the elements that he created the same, but it's going to be made completely new. All things made new. So, you could say numerically new. Well, you won't recognize it from what it was before. And qualitatively, it'll be perfect in every way. So, either word doesn't matter to me. The end result is a perfect earth. But God is taking and he will renew everything. But he renews it from an element on up level. So he does a perfect restoration. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. They are, what can you say, completely melted down and reformed. So if you had an old car and it was to be restored to perfect condition, and it started with melting the car into back into base metals and base elements, and then remanufacturing that car, you could say, well, atomically it's the same car, but qualitatively it's all new. See what I'm saying? That's the reference here. And it says, and there was no more sea. Now that is a major contention point here, because we think, and there are so many commentators who say that the only way that the earth could hold all of the people that have ever been is if all the oceans were dried up and that was turned back into dwellable land, and all the mountains are squashed flat, making the world one uniform ball that everybody can now have their own little piece to live on. That is so ridiculous. Somebody did and we're going to see this in a minute, but the size of New Jerusalem is plenty big enough to hold all calculated believers of all time over all the earth since Adam, and all could fit in the city of New Jerusalem, and New Jerusalem will fill an area not even bigger than the United States of America. So that's not a problem. Even in today's realm, we talk about urbanization, and all the people of the United States, if they were to start with, and I forget how big of a space, but it was a good amount of acreage, and you start at Key West, Florida, and start populating, you could fill the entire population of America in Florida. And I don't think you get out of heading north, I don't think you get up to Georgia even. And that's the entire population of the U.S. When it deals with the population of expected believers over all time, they would all fit in New Jerusalem, and that doesn't even cover all of America. So where do you get this? We're crowding the planet. So when we come to the no more sea, it is not required that the sea be dried up to hold all of the people of the bride of Christ. But in the Jewish mind, you need to understand that the sea was a place of separation and evil. Already in the book of Revelation, every place that we see reference to the sea is a source of satanic origin. The beast rises up out of the sea in Revelation 13, and the place of the dead in Revelation 20, verse 13. It is not restricted to, or even in any place in Revelation, speaking of a body of water. It speaks, when you see the reference to the seas, it talks about bodies of people. And it does not preclude oceans, lakes, and streams. It also, if the oceans were taken away, then it sort of gives weirdness to the river of life flowing, and if the river of life is a real body of water and it flows, well, where does it flow to? And if there's no, it's just kind of weird to put all that together. Not that God can't do it, but it seems unlikely that this reference to no more seas is referring to the body of water that we call oceans. What it does seem to refer to, as in all other places in Revelation, is there's not going to be sort of like oceans of people groups. That there's a sea of Chinese people, there's a sea of Asian, of Russian people, there's a sea of African people. There's not going to be any more seas like that. But will there be an ocean? I don't know. God created them in the first earth. He created those before we were created. So if they need to be eliminated in the end time, wasn't the world good and perfect with oceans prior to that? God designed everything that way. And they've become such a place of beauty for us, and we see the power of God and the working of God over the world. And why would God create the world differently? I don't get it. Anybody that wants to believe that there's going to be no more oceans, and the other term is that there'll be no more mountains, okay, you can believe it however you want. I think there will be mountains and oceans still here on the earth. And I believe there will be animals in those oceans and goats on those mountains. It says that the lion and the lamb will lie down together. It says that the things are going to go back to pre-flood times, where everything and everyone was vegetarian. And I guess we will have to have a memorial to bacon, because there won't be any bacon in heaven. There won't be any meat of any kind in heaven. All of that will be past, because in the origin of this earth, when things were perfect, we got all of our there were no carnivores or omnivores. There was no meat eating. So evidently cats won't be chasing mice, and lions won't be eating lambs, and their wolves won't be eating people. So we go to verse 2. Look at that. We've been almost all of our time here, and we have only gotten through verse 1. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. This is the dwelling place of God. This is the New Jerusalem. It is a gorgeous place, and it is enormous. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. We are not going to dwell with God. God's going to dwell with us. And remember, New Jerusalem, where was it before? It was in the third heaven. New Jerusalem has all of the saints that are in heaven, Old Testament, New Testament, coming out of the wrath of God time of we call the tribulation. All of those saints have been caught up into heaven prior to God renovating the earth and burning the elements with a fervent heat. I'm glad I'm not going to be here for that. And we will be in New Jerusalem. And you say, well, how can that city hold all of the people of all time who have ever been saved? Somebody did the math. First of all, New Jerusalem is 1,500 miles square. That means each side of this either cube or pyramid is 1,500 miles long. And someone did the estimation that if 100 billion people have lived on this planet over all time, and only 20% of them became believers. Many are called, few are chosen. But if 20% of 100 billion people, that comes down to a defined number. And they calculated 1,500 miles square. Then it's like every person has more than 75 acres each to dwell on in New Jerusalem. And that's just in the city. That doesn't count the rest of the world. So there's going to be plenty of room. Okay, there's not going to be any crowding here. And all of the saints come down from heaven to the earth in New Jerusalem, and God comes with us, and he will be our God, and we will be our people, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And it's here on the earth. This is where I get my attention-getting phrase of, I'm awfully glad I'm not going to live in heaven forever. I don't plan to go to heaven and stay there forever. And boy, you talk about getting people's attention, because we've always been taught that when you die, you go to heaven and that's it. You're there forever and ever. And then we get other silly notions that we're going to play harps and jump around on clouds. But God never intended us for that. He created us an earthly people to dwell on the earth. And what happens is we go to heaven temporarily, and then New Jerusalem descends from God out of heaven, rests upon the earth, and God comes down from heaven and dwells with us on the new heaven and the new earth. And the holy city, New Jerusalem, is his tabernacle. And it's enormous. And it's big enough that all of us could go there and be there. But we don't all go there either. We also come out of New Jerusalem and we inhabit the earth. There is in Isaiah 65, 17 through 25, you ought to read it. It talks about the new heaven and the new earth that God is going to create and make for us. And it says that we will go out and build houses, plant vineyards. We're going to live on this earth. We're going to work the dirt. We're going to, and without weeds and without stickers and without thorns and without predators and without, we won't have to guard our livestock or lock our doors. It's going to be a perfect and wonderful earth and world that we live in. And I can hardly wait. This is going to be fantastic. And God shall wipe away all tears, verse 4, from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. Brad, get that. Your back's not going to hurt. For the former things are passed away. But look at this. And he sat, and he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. Now this phrase is really an important one too, because the word what this means, I make all things new, it is in a continual state of newness. Nothing ever wears out. If you have something made out of steel, it doesn't rust. If you have, we live down here by the ocean, and we have this marine air blowing in all the time off the Gulf of Mexico. And that salty air plus the ultraviolet rays from the sun, man, we can corrode stainless steel down here. Anything you put out rots. If it doesn't rot, it rusts. If it doesn't rot or rust, the bugs will eat it. But God says, I make all things new. The entire creation will be in a constant state of newness. That I don't even understand. I guess trees won't start from seed, grow up, fall down, rot, and decay. I don't know. I can't splanify it. But it's going to be a perfect earth. It's going to be a perfect state of newness. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. We will always have all things we need. Whatever we need, it'll be given to us. And with that, you know what? We've only made it 6 verses in. So I guess we're going to pick this up where we left off on Wednesday, because tomorrow I won't be with you. Tomorrow I will be with my beautiful bride. I think I'll be able to jump in on Brad's channel. That's worked out already. I can get things organized enough, but we leave pretty much just about the time that we should be starting our Bible study tomorrow. We'll be on the road heading into to town to get Terry her care. So I'm sorry I won't be with you tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to picking up on verse 7 on Wednesday. So, and looks like if we can cover the rest of this chapter on Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll cover the last chapter, chapter 22, and then on Friday we'll have Fabulous Friday, where collaboration with Brad, and on Monday we'll be starting a new study or a new thing. So we will see that. We will see you all then. Let me catch comments here. Yeah, Southern Prairie Homestead, you're right. Problems arise when believers expect this kind of community now or fail to realize that it only comes down out of heaven. Yeah, we're not. I guess anybody who thinks that we're going to have perfection on earth has never been stuck by has never stepped on a sticker. Oh yes, the city is only and never can be the achievement of man. Is not never can be the achievement of man, but it's only a gift from God. Especially when you consider the transparency. All of the gems that make up the foundation are transparent. All of the gold is so refined and pure that it is transparent. You can see through the gold. Wow. Without pesticides, you're right. Without bad bugs. Yeah, any bugs there will be good ones. I guess Krista won't need that pane of glass between her and that bear. But I think she's well aware that she's grateful for that pane of glass between her and the bear, because he went to take a bite out of her. That is, if you haven't seen that video, you need to. Most of my time in my garden is spent taking weeds out and fighting the bugs. No more bad breath. Yep. All right, I guess we're. Yeah, Grandma so happy. Hello. Yes, that video was. Well, it would have been scary had had that plexiglass or that window barrier not been between Krista and the bear, but it was funny to watch her jump. And it also shows, that bear looked so cuddly. You wanted to just reach through the glass and give him a big hug. But boy, then when Krista sat there and that bear just made a lunging attack at her, it shows you that that cuddliness is a deception of the Walt Disney animators who make them so cute and cuddly. They're not cute and cuddly. They're dangerous and they'll kill you. And there was a guy that was a bear enthusiast, went up to, quote, live with the bears, and brought his bride up to come live with the bears with him. And he got so bold, he got too close, and bears killed him. Not so pretty good. Keep in mind that wishing for a utopian world where you can hug the bears and play with the lions and the wolves, that isn't until God fixes things. So yeah, I wouldn't trust a bear either. Bears they're cute from a distance. They are not so many of them are all so dangerous. There's so many animals that are very, very dangerous. And bears and lions and tigers and, Dorothy was right. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. It's a problem. Okay, let's close in prayer. And I will see you on Wednesday. Father, we praise you for your perfect creation. And we see the effects of sin almost everywhere we turn. God, most importantly, use us to magnify your love and your grace to everyone we meet. Help us, God, during these days especially, to reflect, to be a reflection of your perfect glory. And guide us, Lord, so that we will come across the paths of those whose hearts might turn to the gospel. Help us, Lord, to be efficient in our spread of the gospel, that by the Holy Spirit's guidance, we will be used to great profit and great purpose to bring others to Christ. And Lord, we pray that when we get to heaven, we won't be coming alone, but that there will be others who, from our testimony in our life, have found Jesus. And Lord, we praise you and we thank you. In Jesus' sweet name, amen. God bless you all. See you Wednesday.